So Donald Trump and his supporters are on a rampage against Robert Mueller. Gee, I wonder why. If he was innocent, wouldn't he want the prosecutor to prove his innocence or to at least look into it and say, boy, I got nothing here, right? But no, they gotta get rid of Mueller. Now he's in Trump's bank account. That's what's setting the complete panic into motion here, because Trump knows what's in that bank account. So we gotta get rid of him. So they're gonna try two different ways to do that. One is they say, oh my God, turns out there's these two FBI agents from back in the day, because they're not on the team anymore, and they sent out some tweets, texts to one another that were not right, okay? And it's true. One of them was Lisa Page, and she wrote in these texts back and forth with another guy at the FBI who were part of this investigation. They were apparently secretly having an affair, and so they used their government phones to text so that their spouses wouldn't catch them. Genius move, which then makes it public domain, and we discovered the emails. And by the way, I don't think it's a bad thing to discover the emails, and I don't think it was a bad thing to remove them from the case at all, okay? So in the emails, they're pretty explicit. Texts. They call Donald Trump, quote, an idiot. They also call him a loathsome human. And here's Lisa Page saying, and wow, Donald Trump is an enormous douche. Okay, fair enough, and he is all those things. But if you're part of any investigation, by the way, they were part of the Hillary Clinton email investigation too. You probably shouldn't be saying that in a public way. Now, do FBI agents have political opinions on their personal time? Of course they do. And in fact, one FBI agent said to conservatives, "Don't do this. If you start eliminating FBI agents based on their political bias, at least 2/3 of the FBI agents are deeply conservative. You'll never be able to do an investigation of Democrats again because they'll say, oh, they were conservative. They voted against Hillary Clinton. They voted for Donald Trump." So anyway, it should be noted, by the way, that these guys, Page and Turks, didn't just dislike Donald Trump, and they did. There's no question, as you can tell from those texts. They also didn't love Hillary Clinton. They said stuff about Martin O'Malley and Bernie Sanders. They didn't like him either. Stork refers to himself as a conservative Democrat, and he even complains about Hillary Clinton. He says, this is clear and utter bias by the media, specifically by the New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN, who, if you look at all of them, have large donors for Clinton. So by the logic of the Republicans, they should have also been eliminated from any Clinton investigations because they believe the media is biased in her favor, trying to protect her when they shouldn't. So, but whether you think those guys should be removed from the case or not, they were a long time ago, back in June. As soon as Mueller found out about it, he said, okay, you're gone, you're off the case. So Rod Rosenstein, who's Deputy Attorney General who appointed Mueller, was asked about it, and he said, yeah, Mueller acted immediately and appropriately, okay? Now, there's a second so-called issue that they brought up, and that is the issue of Mueller's team getting emails from the General Services Administration during the transition of Donald Trump. It is a Trump super PAC that brought this up, pretending to be outraged, when in reality, all those correspondences are public. And there's no Fourth Amendment rights there. It is clear as day. Here, let me explain. We go to Law and Crime here to pick this up. It was recently revealed that Mueller's investigators obtained emails from accounts in the Trump transition team. In response, an attorney for the transition team wrote Congress saying General Services Administration, a federal agency, illegally handed over these messages. Now, is that true? Let's look into it. So here's Dan Barr. Now, he's a lawyer, but connected to the Democratic Party, so let's just be upfront about everybody's perspective here. But he writes in, this letter is beyond stupid. Mueller got emails from the GSA because they were on GSA's server. The government obtained emails from itself. The Fourth Amendment does not come into play at all. So now, when other experts are asked about it, they all uniformly say the same thing because that's the law. So here's Norm Eisen. He says, I was the deputy general counsel of a transition, the Obama-Biden 08 transition. I warned everyone there is no expectation of privacy in your transition emails. The clue, emails are name@ptt.gov. The whining letter from the Trump transition tacitly admits this. It ends by asking for a legislative fix. In other words, there is no legal issues there at all. Here's Randall Eliason, a former federal prosecutor. He says, it's not your personal email. If it ends in .gov, you don't have any expectation of privacy. The Washington Post goes on to explain, if Trump's team had a valid legal claim, Eliason said, it would follow standard protocol of filing a sealed motion to the judge supervising the grand jury and ask the judge to provide a remedy, such as requiring Mueller's team to return the emails or excluding their use in the investigation. But they didn't ask for any legal remedy because no laws were violated. There would be no legal remedy to give them. This is a Trump super PAC throwing dirt out there, trying to get enough of an excuse so that Republican legislators can say, oh my God, Mueller, I can't believe things that happened, whatever they were. I'm outraged about the Fourth Amendment, which I've never read, don't know what it applies to, never asked the lawyer about it. But I'm outraged, and we got to get rid of him so they can do a partisan witch hunt of Mueller to stop the investigation at all costs. Now back to Mediaite. They explained that the theory that the president was considering firing Mueller has gained significant traction in the past 48 hours as Trump and his legal counsel have attacked the special counsel's team for quote unquote unlawfully obtaining tens of thousands of emails relating to the administration's transition team. As we just explained to you, there was nothing unlawful about that at all. So yes, they're trying to cook up, desperately trying to cook up reasons to get rid of Mueller because they think, apparently, that he's got him. Now, I don't know that. I haven't seen the hard evidence that Mueller has. But Trump knows what's in his bank accounts. Trump knows what he did and didn't do. And if he thinks Mueller is closing in, this is what you do to try to fire people who are investigating you and circumvent democracy. When asked about it, though, Trump said, oh, firing Mueller, are you considering that? Quote, no, I'm not. That is exactly, of course, what he said right before he fired James Comey, the head of the FBI, who he thought was investigating him for his connection to Russia. We know that because Trump admitted that on national TV. Now, in reality, though, Trump is out there stoking all these fires. And he said previously about the FBI and the special counsel and all of that, he said, not looking good. It's not looking good. My people are very upset about it. I can't imagine there's anything on them, frankly, referring to the transition emails. Because as we said, there's no collusion. There's no collusion whatsoever. A lot of lawyers thought that was pretty sad. What was sad? Getting the emails that are public property and publicly available? No, in other words, I'm not saying I'm going to fire Mueller, but I'm saying that all the Republicans should create pressure to fire him because, gosh, we wouldn't want to live in a democracy where the president is held to account and law and order applies to everybody. He's basically saying, make me a dictator, make sure that I don't have to follow the law, and if I'm caught, that there are no consequences, we just fire all of them and just circumvent our democracy completely. So now the thing is, he can't actually fire Mueller. The person who has the authority to fire Mueller is the attorney general. He can fire a special counsel, but in this case, Jeff Sessions recused himself from any Russian investigations, so it would be the deputy attorney general, Rosenstein. He's the one that appointed him in the first place. He went on Wednesday and testified. Now, he took a couple of shots at different people doing the investigations, but overall said, no, Mueller's doing a fine job and there's no reason to replace him at all. Now, Trump is furious about that. We got a Washington Post story about that. They explain, in recent discussions, two advisors said Trump has called the attorney general weak, that's Sessions, and complained that Rosenstein has shown insufficient accountability on the special counsel's work. A senior official said Trump mocked Rosenstein's recent testimony on Capitol Hill, saying he looked weak and unable to answer questions. Trump has ranted about Rosenstein as a quote Democrat, one of these advisors said, and characterized them as a threat to his presidency. Now, Rosenstein wouldn't be any threat to your presidency if you didn't do anything wrong. And Rosenstein's not the one doing the investigation. What is Rosenstein? He's the guy who will not fire Mueller. So Trump now apparently considering firing Rosenstein so that he could hire someone else that will fire Mueller. That's what they mean by hasn't shown enough accountability, meaning accountability to us. He works for us. If I tell him to fire someone investigating me, who cares about the Constitution and our former government? Fire him already. Otherwise, you're not showing me enough accountability and you look weak, because a strong guy would circumvent the law. So these fascist wannabes are trying to make sure that we do not follow our system of government, that we just let the president break any law he wants and fire anyone who investigates him. Well, if they do, of course we should not let that stand. Every Democrat should immediately call for impeachment, bar none. And if Republicans have any principle at all, and that's a giant if, because I don't really believe that they do. I would be shocked if they did the right thing. But if they have any principles at all, if they've ever cared about this Constitution or this country, they would then say, no, not on our watch. Right now, Trump says he won't push him to that edge, that he's not going to fire Mueller. But hold the phone, and there are now Democratic congressmen saying they're worried he might fire him even before the end of the year. And if he does, people should be in the streets. We can't let him ruin our democracy this way. There should be no end to the protests if he does that. Because if you let him get away with that, then he's above the law, and then you've got nothing to stop him from doing whatever he wants. That's not our system of government. If you become a member of the Young Turks, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
So do it right now, tytnetwork.com/join. Get the whole Young Turks show every day.